Lawyers for former President Trump are defending a federal judge's order preventing the Justice Department from reviewing classified documents seized at Mar-a-Lago. They submitted a court filing earlier today condemning the investigation of Mr. Trump as, quote, unprecedented and misguided.
The filing argues against the Justice Department's motion to allow officials to continue investigating more than 100 classified government records as they appeal the special master order from that judge there in Florida. The DOJ and attorneys for Mr. Trump submitted possible candidates for that position of special master in the case on Friday. Now, the special master, because it's like an old-fashioned term, very archaic, it is an independent third party that would be appointed to review the materials seized in a search for anything protected by attorney-client or executive privilege.
Joining us now is CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge. Catherine, it's good to see you. Can you walk us through some of those main points in the counter argument that was submitted by former President Trump's lawyers today?
Well, Lilia, this 21-page filing comes from the newest member of President Trump's legal team, a former Solicitor General in the state of Florida, and the foundational argument is that the president is the ultimate gatekeeper for classification and declassification, and that the rules were laid down by a previous administration. The filing reads in part, President Obama enacted the current executive order prescribing the parameters for controlling classified information. That executive order, which controlled during President Trump's term in office, designates the president as an original classification authority and therefore the individual who has the power to also declassify. This motion also makes the argument that the Justice Department's review of the records, which is now complete, and they say they potentially found a limited number of documents that may go to attorney-client privilege, is a review that can be challenged and can be subject to an additional review, in this case one that's ordered by the court, hiring a special master to do that review. And then finally, they address this argument that the Justice Department says that the delays, the litigation, the appeals that are underway will cause harm to their investigation. They say that this process requires the highest level of transparency, and they say it would go a long way to growing public trust in the FBI and Justice Department investigation. Of course, there's going to be the say from the Justice Department, and that could come as early as later today.
Kind of unsurprising to hear in that filing. What about Obama?
Yeah, there's a lot of whataboutism in politics these days. And of course, one of the counters from the Justice Department to the idea that the president, former President Trump, has the power to declassify anything is that, well, doesn't matter. Even if he declassified it, it's still a government document that you don't have the right to take it to your private residence.
And they called it personal records, I understand, in that filing. I mean, I was reading just the beginning of it, walking in, and they called, they talk about personal records. Well,
the question then becomes, who does it belong to? The former president, a private citizen now, or the government? But Catherine, while I have you, I have a note here that something may be happening with regards to the Justice Department's investigation into January 6th. Do you know what that is?
Well, Tony, just to recap, we have 870 defendants charged in the January 6th investigation. This makes it the largest federal investigation of its kind, and we've had over 400 guilty pleas. And what we expect this week are appearances by two very high-profile defendants. The first is Enrique Tarrio. He is the leader of the Proud Boys. And the second is Stuart Rhodes. He is the leader of the Oath Keepers. And the reason the individuals matter so much is they're at the center of these seditious conspiracy cases. Seditious conspiracy is the most serious charge that has been brought by the Justice Department so far. It's a conspiracy. The cases involve multiple individuals, and the allegation is that their coordination prior to January 6th was part of a scheme to either overthrow a government action or to block it entirely, in this case, the certification on January 6th.
All right, Catherine Herridge doing double duty for us today, this morning covering Guantanamo prisoners and the 9/11 anniversary, and today picking up the multiple investigations into and around the former president. Catherine, thank you very much.
That was an incredible story this morning, Catherine.